Welcome back, welcome back. So let's dive. Let's get rooted today so that we can elevate in the future. All right. And we need to discuss the real message that is in the music that we listen to, that we allow our children to listen to, that we allow to be played in the stadiums, that we wish to be heard at the same time. We have to look at the way that we are viewed because of the music that we make. It's very common for a rebuttal to be made, about why our people continuously get gunned down, and people say that they were afraid when our music speaks of savage acts done against our own people. And we have to understand that there is a definite prevalence of black on black violence and an extreme leniency when there's white on black violence. And we must understand that there is a higher rate and an easier incidence of black on black violence, but in the same situation when a black person, black male or female, is pressed by the opposite race, there is a lack of that same discourse. So it's important for us to understand why certain people interact with us in a certain way, and we must understand that whether we listen to it consistently, continuously, whether we say it is okay or we don't speak against it, what we stream, what we download, what we allow to be played in different domains is, that is just the rub of it. Okay, you can't get away from the fact that you are endorsing it in a certain way. Okay, and we can try to claim it as culture, but again, culture is something that a people express and create. Culture is something that is wrapped within what a group is intending to do. Okay, it is their expression on their journey. Okay, culture is not something that is just a standard. Okay. So it just like me, I'm not your standard black man. No, I'm not. And I would hope that you're not your standard human either. I feel that if we were, it would be quite bland. It would be quite boring in this world that we exist in, how big it is, how expansive it is, but it would be quite dull still if we were all the same. Right, so I acknowledge that. I love classical music. It is cool. I have an affinity for different musical styles. It's cool to me to have these different, rich tones. Most don't have to have words to them, and I find those to be the best. So I want us to understand that there are other pathways out there for a rhythmic expression. It doesn't have to have a negative connotation to it. It doesn't have to have a negative expression in it, right? So let's get a little bit deeper. Let's get a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more into the wordplay that's being used, right? Let's talk about the tyranny. What is a tyrant? A tyrant is someone who is continuously oppressing their community, their immediate others, right? And with the way that this land has been built, right, with the stealing of the people from this land and then bringing them to America, murdering, pillaging, raping, killing, wiping out, exterminating an entirety of a people. I don't think you guys understand that. Imagine if every single person, minus 10-15% of America's 330 million people. Imagine if COVID wiped all them out. And then we found out that COVID was a human. Right? it's a sinking feeling that you must feel in your stomach, right? To understand that that's how people were removed from life, on such a mass scale, and called savages, and called savages so that they could be treated savagely. Okay, and right after that, people like me, my ancestors, were brought in. Not just field hands. We're talking about the best of craftsmen, the best of skilled workers, the engineers and architects of the time, the scholars of the time, right? So you leave a continent bare. You leave it bare, right? And the entire time, those people are being belittled as not human, less than human, closer to ape, and determined to be the N-word. Now we're arriving at the connection with the music, the cultural fork that comes into the road, and history. Why is the N-word so abundant in the music when the history of the word is so abundant? I'm confused. But I think if we speak about it, I think we can all become a bit more clearer on the subject, and begin to build a unified ethos. Because if we have a unified mindset, if we have a unified community pathway of progress, meaning we won't engage in such activity anymore, we won't endorse such activity anymore, because do you feel like that word? Do you ascribe to the word that was defined to? Because words have meaning, words have living definitions, words have history to them. And in no way should something so vile, so disgusting, so disrespectful ever want to be regenerated into something brotherly or positive, when there is genuinely no positive element used around it when we throw it out there. So I feel we have to express how oppressive that word is each and every time that we use it in language, in regular conversation, or whether it's being played over the waves of the radio. Nonetheless, how we feel when someone not of the race uses it as it was created for them to use. Or when they use it listening to the music that endorses it to be used. It really leaves us no ground to stand on when people want to use such flammable, fire, flammable firewood, flammable tinder, flammable fuel, it's really difficult to be able to stand on that sort of platform when music is one of the biggest regressions that we can have against us in terms of saying we want justice, we want to move forward, we want people to respect us. It shows in our music because we are so glued to the culture that is rampant right now that we have no respect for ourselves, nor do we have respect for our youth. So we have to begin there. We have to start there. And we have to develop a unified ethos. Okay? After that, we must think about the depression and the anxiety that's spoken about in this music. There's so much. Go to your streaming service and go ahead and type in pain music and see how many different songs pop up, and then listen to those songs and tell me what you hear. How many songs, how many artists have committed suicide? How many artists have been gunned down? How many artists go to jail? You know what's really odd? You know what's really odd to me? In all of the music, I won't throw a blanket out there. The vast majority of the music that is spoken about where guns and violence and crews are spoken about, there's a whole lot of bullets being hurled back and forth in urban areas with people that look like them, but when the police pull up on them, they're frightened. They're prescribing to the F that means fly away and flee. They become fearful. They don't want to go to jail. They don't want to have a confrontation with the law. And I'm not provoking, I'm not evoking any sense of what you should or should not do. I'm saying don't be a tyrant and an oppressor of your community and then claim that somebody, because they're wearing a badge that has always been, ascribed to oppression. Let's not forget that the sheriff's star is the same star as the slave-catching star, and that is what the sheriff began as. Let's understand that we can't, you can't call something else a rat and you're doing rat-like things. You can't call something else a bird because it flaps with wings, but you're a bird as well because you're flying in the same direction. Okay, so it's important that we not be hypocrites and that we address the issues that are there. Okay, now we go into the depression and anxiety portion, and we hear about so often, the different artists that go, into rehabs, or they go into some sort of depression, or they collapse, and all these things. And that is a major portion of being human. What is it? A third of it is fraternization. Proper socialization. If you're not properly socializing, you're not balancing yourself, which is again why it's not good to just take in the music and then go out and live. Or take in what I'm saying to you and not bounce it off of others to understand how this can be harmonious in creating a better world. So this is not just bouncing around on the inside of your head. You create all your own opinions, and then, it's very harmful. Whether you're affluent or you're poor, it's very harmful to be alone. It's very harmful to feel disconnected and disassociated, right? So understand that. Understand that there's a power in that. Understand that these people that are crying out in their music are doing so because they need help. They don't need you to throw, joints and stuff on the stage to them. They need somebody to throw their cousin who's a psychologist's card on the stage and tell them to call him or her so that they can get some assistance. Because I heard your song and it sounds like you need some assistance. That's what a real human would do. A real human would help somebody who is in pain. A real human would help somebody who is in need of guidance, of reassurance, and I think if we started doing that, we would genuinely begin to raise the vibrations of the planet and its people, which should be the ultimate goal, first and foremost. And people need to understand that there are others that will stand there with them, not just give them money, because the money that we give people often drives them further into their addiction, right? It drives them further into their corner, into their cave. And that's not healthy. It's not productive. It's not sustainable, right? So let us be aware of those outcries. And let us not be amongst those who, when we hear that an artist has done something so drastic and so irreversible, let us try and look at the track record that they left behind so that we can see the seeds that they were sowing to blossom into loud beacons so that people could help them, so that we can help those who are on the similar path laying similar seeds. All right? It's important because we have to be in this together. A third of our existence is fraternization. Okay? That's why you're tuning in to the Hueman Health Show with your holistic performance enhancement specialist, Zulu Z Khalid, on Rainer Avenue Radio. It is so important that you understand that this here is a seed in itself, a spore for you to take and lay on the table for your community, for your friends and family, so that you guys can allow that to blossom, grow, and turn into a community ethos. It's so powerful. It's so important. It's so potent. And if you can embrace and harness that if you can apply that with a continuous, unified intention, where every piece is doing its part, then you're going to find yourself, we're going to find all of ourselves in a much better, much more harmonious, much more pleasurable experience overall, and will leave an existence for those who follow after us, because we can't be so selfish to not allow them to enjoy the fullness, the richness of Mother Earth and of a full life and the potentialities that we have as a human species. I mean, we got opposable thumbs, yo. We got brains with many cortexes. You guys know we got multiple cortexes? We got hemispheres in our brain. Like, that's pretty big. That's pretty important. And it's key that we use those brains, that we use these thumbs for the right things, right? Not to take us towards the wrong sorts of entertainment, but to possibly take us towards more education and edutainment, right? Let's do that more often. Let's be a part of that more often, okay? Also, you know, it must be spoken about the addiction that's rife in the music. None of us think that that's okay. None of us would want these addicts in our house. None of us would want our children to stumble into addiction. If you are from the inner city and you listen to it, if you listen to it in speaking of hip hop and rap music and so forth, of the masses that's being put out to be a cultural, sort of index, if you're listening to it because it seems to be around your community, what you're doing is endorsing the story to occur generations after you follow. Okay? If your friends have gotten addicted, if you're an older generation like me, I see many people I went to school with. As a matter of fact, let's take it all the way back. I remember when I was in middle school, riding around with others who were my age now, in that 28 to 40-year-old bracket, you know, riding around with them and saying they used to be something. And they're pointing at somebody who was very, very, very bad off, okay? That is not doing good at all. And it would just, I wouldn't be able to encompass what they're saying. It wouldn't resonate with me. And I'm telling you now, I can go down Rainier Avenue right now. I can go downtown right now and see multiple individual humans who I used to go to class with, possibly play sports with, possibly, shoot the ones with. So you have to understand that these ideas and these decision-making intentionalities, they didn't come from anywhere. They didn't come from, from out of the blue. Certain entertainment and certain pieces of life were being adhered to more than others, right? Some places, some pieces, some portions of the puzzle were being focused on more than others. Bismillah, alhamdulillah. So it's humbling to be able to be in a position now where I am trying to incite change, right? Where I'm trying to create a new mindset, right? Where I'm trying to take us back to a point where we were striding forward, not accepting this sort of, flagrant fouling of our people, and allowing our own people to be doing most of the technical fouls, right? So we have to think about addiction, the drug selling, the alcohol, the alcoholism, right? Also the endorsement of drugs, right? The endorsement of the trap, right? These are not things that any individual who is born, there's no mother that grows a child in her stomach and is like, my child is going to be the trap king or queen. No. No. There's no child that is raised in a situation of filth, anxiety, and the potential death constantly, right? That says, you know what, when I grow up, I just want to master this here. I just want to master this. The guy that's always coming in the door, or the guy that's always leaving with the money, I want to just master what he or she is doing. You won't find that answer. You won't find a child saying yes to that. It just won't occur. Okay? And we know that. So we cannot continue to endorse the entertainment that says that that's okay. You know, and this is, again, just one aspect of it. You know, it's not okay to sell drugs. It's not okay to sell drugs to your people, because you're creating addicts. You're creating people who will be unproductive in your society, and thus your community will then begin to deteriorate. That's the baseline of it. That's the baseline of it. Second, you're selling poison, right? So you're not making healthy humans. You're destroying humans. And if you think either of those things are okay, then we need to table together why you think that is acceptable, as well as those with you. This can be turned into a lecture, a seminar, a worldwide event. But it's important that that mindset be removed, because it's prideful, it's arrogant, and it's destructive to our people, to our children. And more than anything, we must protect the children, right? So the addiction side as well, because people are not always on the selling end. You have to always think about the person who is, because there's one big drug dealer in the song, you know, one big, head honcho in the song that's giving out, you know, he's making all the big bands, and he's got all the Lamborghinis and all the stuff, you know, and he's selling all the big work. Who's buying all these drugs? It's not getting flushed down the toilet. It's not just getting bought and put in Instagram photos and people are saying, I bought this dope. People are smoking that dope. They are shooting that dope into their body, and they are dying because of it. They are losing their families because of it. They're losing their livelihoods because of it. And that cannot be put over a rhythmic sound and made cool. Okay? We can't do that. Most importantly, I feel, is the conduct between black male and female relationships, and how those are often constructed directly out of what is heard out of mainstream music. And I don't want to be graphic here, but I want you to go ahead and listen to any of, you know, whether it's artists from the 90s, you can hear Tupac's I Get Around, Adina Howard, you know. Listen to the songs and think about, is this what you want your child to be listening to? Listen to Cardi B nowadays. Listen to Shinsia. Listen to some of these artists and see, is this what you want your daughter to be around? Listen to some of these artists that are men that speak about women the way that they do. And then ask yourself, how is this not affecting my 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old child? Male or female? You know? It's very destructive, and it's very counterproductive to think that the rhythm that makes the head bob so unconsciously is not allowing the tunnel into the heart to be widened, right? And to resonate more, the words that are going in, right? So we have to be careful. And even more than being careful, we have to be active, and we have to be engaged in making sure that that which is coming out, that which is deemed as entertainment and acceptable as representative of our culture, or representative of our group consciousness, or our group goals, or our group potential, then we have to begin to draw clear lines that say that is a no and this is a go. All right? It's simple. And I think if you just go listen to some of the songs, go type in Blueface. Please don't watch the video. Please don't watch the video. These are the things that young women are up against as they're studying, as they are trying to become productive young humans, right? And thinking about the discourse of marriage. This is what they're up against. And the guys are thinking that this is what they're supposed to be doing, and this is what they're striding for financially. So they go from one aspect of not understanding into this is what it means, and then driving the next portion of their life towards that. Mainly to keep the group conscious of, I don't want others to think I am not A, B, or C. So we can stop that by disallowing so-called superstars. I don't know in what sky, but so-called superstars to have so much influence on our genuine stars, right? We could go on, but there is, as always, the essence of time. And I respect yours. And I respect the fact that I believe that you are a highly intelligent, highly capable individual, and that you understand the brevity of what I've spoken today. I think it's clear. And I think that if you table this, not just once, but if you constantly bring this up around all of the people that you fraternize with, your family, your friends, your associates, your colleagues, your fellow students, everybody. If you continue to bring this up in a natural manner, in an organic manner, I think that you'll find yourself moving the meter forward in a beautiful way, in a meaningful way, in a way that I will be thanking you for. And I thank you now for tuning in to the Hueman Health Show on Rainer Avenue Radio. And I believe with all of my heart that it is the time spent like this that will change the time spent by our grandchildren's great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren. So I hope that you guys get a chance to check out the publication. I think it is a great read. I think it's, a very simple, very easy to absorb read, very digestible. And I think if you are ready for action, you will be ready to take your life in a completely new direction. And I think that if you are appreciative of information like this, and that you are excited and intrigued about what is coming next, then understand that what is next is definitely going to be a bit more fun. And it is definitely going to have some higher aspects of money. So we spoke about where we're spending our money now. Let's start pondering, on these Black Tuesdays, without the streaming, what would I be streaming right now? Would I be streaming, a new Black scholar? Would I be streaming a Ta-Nehisi Coates novel? Would I be streaming, the new Ron Finley masterclass? Would I be reading, any of the new Black graphic novels that may have come out, checking out a new Black author? What would I be doing with this extra streaming power that I have? What would I be doing? And think if you would be doing something that is destructive or counterproductive to the Black Lives Matter movement, i.e. deeming yourselves as savages and the N words and the B words, and should be walking around in provocative clothing that only exposes that which is below your neck, meaning not the beauty of your brain, but the genuine beauty of what your body may have. I think that you will understand the power that we genuinely have as a people, and the power that we can wield as a people. Okay, upcoming, we have the benefits and the expansiveness of the sports industry, but we need to re-examine it. So I really hope that you join me for that. It's going to be exciting. Again, it's going to be very financial forward. It's going to be very international forward. Okay, so we have dealt with where we spend our loot. Now it's time to figure out how we can generate more loot on a wider scale and become better humans in the same accord. All right. So until next time, stay peaceful, remain rooted, love your skin and what's within. I am your holistic performance enhancement specialist, Zulu Zeke Kali, the healthy human. Peace.